I'm running a consultant company dealing with strategic issues based in Algeria, set up in Algeria since 1993. I'm graduated from Algeria University and Berkeley University as well in political sciences and international relations. I used to work for the Algerian Institute for Strategic Studies in early 90s when I came back from United States. I'm still there, so I refused to leave the country, even if the country was under struggle and all the stuff. Mostly I consult now for many companies, but also for government institutions or government bodies. Some governments wants to, ask for consultancy in terms of assessment of the country, the situation, the security situation, the economic situation, and so on. I'm a member of the World Economic Forum in Davos since 1999. And also a member of the Defense and Security Forum based in London.
I think most of the people will know Algeria, but to be very honest, like me, most of them won't know anything what happened there the last, let's say, 50, 60 years. Maybe you can give us a short overview about the periods, what really had happened in your country.
You're right. Nothing, people doesn't know anything about Algeria, mostly. When you heard about Algeria, or if you read the newspapers about Algeria, or if you hear the news overseas, the only issue that it is raised is terrorism or something linked to terrorism and or bombings, but nothing in terms of transformation, reforms, economic or political reforms. In two sentences, I can just summarize the three phases from which Algeria comes. Algeria had independence in 1962. It was colonized by the French. The period of decolonization started, of course, in 1962, and during the first period of time, Algeria was looking for a way, for her way, for its way, and we were heavily influenced at that time by the Soviet Union, by the model of the Soviet Union. We are not a communist country. We are not a socialist country, but the model of governance has been influenced by the Soviet model, which is still functioning now.
Okay.
This was the first period, and it started in 1962. And more or less over in mid or early 80s. Why early 80s? Because early 80s was the first oil crash, and Algeria was facing the beginning of the problems linked to the oil crash. And from that time, Algeria was a bit disturbed. There was some turbulence, political, economic turbulence, because again linked to the oil crash. Why? Because Algeria is mainly depending on oil. 98% of exports is oil and gas. Up to now. So
this is amazing.
In mid 80s, which means in 1988, when the world started, when the two blocks started to be dismantled. Okay, Algeria faced the first social riots in 1988. The people were asking for, or were calling for, better life at that time.
Okay.
And instead of this, the rulers gave them freedom of speech, multipartyism, and they call it democracy. So they started to open up the political, the political arena. This was in 1888, and just to give you a figure, we were ruled by one party, as the Soviet at that time, and from 88, when the constitution has been amended, we reached at some point more than 70 parties. Can you imagine what does it mean? That everybody wants to set up a party. Bon. From that time, everything becomes, there was, we moved on, let's say, the game of elections, and we moved from 70 parties to more or less 10 to 12 parties, which is more.
It's still a lot, but
it's still like, yeah, but it is. In late 80s, beginning of the 90s, 1990, 1991, we faced the most challenging phase of political opening.
In which way? Describe it.
In the way that we have, Algeria has decided to go through real elections and to go for an alternative. No more one party, so give the chance to the others. And at that time, the Islamist party, I prefer to call it the extremist party, because I don't want to link this to religion, because religion has been used as an umbrella. And at that time, the Islamist party was very strong, and the elections brings this party up to the top. So he win the first round of the elections, more than 80%. Most of the people could ask why this party won the elections. Just because people were fed up about exactly, and they just punished the whole government, the whole elite, the whole system. Thanks for the word. And we started to face, let's say, problems, and at that time, the army decided to stop the elections process, which means that they stopped the second round, and they say stop. Why? Because we were going to the let's face, huge problem. But people were frustrated, and Algeria started a new phase of violence, turbulence, and at the end, terrorism. So, since 1991 up to 2001, 2002, which the situation has improved, Algeria has faced a strong and very heavy situation. We call it the bad time, which is, terrorism and violence.